In this lecture, we will create script which will give to users the possibility to recheck their inputs. So create script called input.sh, start with shebang, and on the next line write comment. Read data from users and make them option to recheck if provided data are correct. So we can now start with gathering some data. We can ask user for name, so echo enter your name, and read user input into variable called name. Then we will ask for age, enter your age, and we will read it into variable age. And then we will ask also for department, enter your department. Now we can print to users some summary of what they typed, so we can write you have entered following. So on the next line write name followed by output of the variable name, and the same we will do for age followed by output of variable age, and the same also for department. Oh, I forgot to read the department variable, so I will print dep variable and I will read it on proper place after asking on user's department. I can now structure the summary output. And what to do next? We have displayed to users their inputs. Now we need to ask them if they agree with data they have entered. So write, is that correct? And suggest yes or no possibility. So is that correct? Then we will read this answer into variable called answer, surprisingly. And now it's time for using case structure. So depending of what answer user has chosen, that means yes represented by y character or no represented by n character. So depending on this, we will decide what should happen. Now we will start with case structure, so write case followed by variable answer followed by keyword in. So if that variable answer is equals to y in uppercase or which is represented as pipe, or it is equal to y in lowercase, we will perform some block of commands. Please remember that if you want to run some block of commands for more than one values, as in our case for uppercase y and lowercase y, we don't need to create two or more blocks. We are rather using pipe, which represents or. So if variable answer is equal to uppercase y or lowercase y, then do the same block of commands for them. Also, don't forget that you need to close value option using write paren. Then, if user has entered y, we will save to some file user's data. So maybe it will be better to just copy block of code we have already created. and redirect it to a file impl.txt, for example. And also I will redirect to that file few equal signs, which will represent end of this user's data. And now I can close this block of commands using double semicolon, and maybe I can print to screen your data were saved, your data were saved into employee file. Now, what happens if user has entered uppercase N or lowercase n? Before writing commands, please note that I am not using quotation marks around character N. This is not needed, as it is only one character which cannot be separated by internal field separator. My advice for a whole bash script is to use quotation marks if you are working with string which has some space inside. So if user entered n character, we will print nothing was saved, run the script again, if you want to add data to employee file, and finish this section by double semicolon. Now, for case user will enter something different than y or n character, we will use asterisk. But do you know why asterisk? Here is good to mention that case structure works with wildcards, and in wildcards asterisk represents all characters. So if user didn't answer y or n character, then we will definitely end up in this section because we are catching all characters here. And this is also a reason why we are using asterisk at the bottom, because if we move asterisk section up, for example before section with value y, the asterisk section would be always perform and we would never execute commands which are inside section with y value or in section specified by n character. So now, what should happen if user entered something different? We will print wrong answer provided, and we can close this section using double semicolon. Now we can also close case structure using ISAC keyword. So we have basic structure of our script, but something is missing. If user will, for example, answer yes instead of only y character in that is that correct question, the script would reply wrong answer provided and no user data would be stored. User would then need to run the script again, so it would be nice to have some option to change user answer in case user provides something different than y or n character. And we will do that using while loop. We will keep looping through the code if variable called check is equals to 0. Now we can specify body of while loop using do and done keyword. But we should also specify what value has that variable check from the beginning, and I will assign 0 to it. So loop through that code between do and done if value of variable check is 0. Now our loop would never stop as it is 0 and never changing. So if we want the loop to finish, we need to change value of variable check. So I will in y and n sections change value of variable check, for example to value 1. Now if user's answer is y or n, the value of variable check is not 0, so that means the loop is finished and won't be repeated. If on another case user answers for example blah blah, he will go to asterisk section, and as there is no changing of value of variable check, then the value of variable check is still 0 and loop will be continuing with question, is that correct? Now the script is done and we can save it. Grant execute permissions and we can run the script now. Enter your name Peter, age 51, department IT. Is that correct? And Peter says, oh, I don't have 51, I'm only 50, so it is not correct. So when he types no, he got wrong answer provided as we are taking only n character. So when he type n, he will see nothing was saved. Run the script again. So great, it is working perfectly. So now let's run the script again. Name Peter, age 50, department IT, and let's save it using y character. Your data were saved into employee file. Great, except that I have written to him your date were saved. But anyway, now let's check that employee file. And we can see that Peter's record were added. Now we can add another person. Jane, age 30, department HR, and confirm with, for example, uppercase Y. And we can check employee file. And great, we have 2 records here. Script works perfectly. When we go back to script, we see that in while loop we are starting with line where we asking users, is that correct? But it is completely up to you where to start with it. You can, for example, place the beginning of a while loop before asking on username, so then if user replies something different than y or n characters, then the user would be forced to enter data as name, age, and department again.